Do you think humanity could have contacted aliens in some way? Or, if I need to ask a more priority question, do you think aliens actually exist? These questions have been asked by many people since humanity's adventures regarding space began, and theories have been produced about them. Today, we will try to find the answers to these questions together and talk about the theories that are taking the world by storm. But first, before moving on to our video, don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and state your ideas in the comments for new video ideas. Now, if you're ready, we can move on to our video. Especially in recent years, and even in recent days, the footage that NASA has opened to the public, which it calls UFO footage, has created a massive resonance in the public eye. While a certain group puts forward that the images are man-made, another group said there is nothing interesting about the videos. Well, are these thoughts really true? I mean, could NASA have prepared images with artificial intelligence or by human hands just to make humanity believe in something? Actually, the answer to this is no, because while NASA opens these images to the public, it never makes a claim such as we contacted aliens or we have definitely imaged aliens. It just shows that the fact that what these images are is still not understood indicates that there are many things we do not know. Because if there is an alien race with the technology to visit our world, they could very easily evade the radars or cameras located in our world. However, in order to attribute a meaning to these images, people put forward claims that are hollow but will attract a lot of interest in the public. And many people believe in the reality of these claims and eventually blame NASA or other space agencies. Actually, someone researching these topics should instantly realize how groundless such theories or claims are. Because we occupy a much smaller place in the universe than we think, and technologically, we do not yet possess a technology that would make us extraordinary. However, this of course does not mean that humanity is a worthless species or that the Earth is a worthless planet. As long as we focus on our development instead of attacking each other, we are a species that can accomplish excellent things in very short periods. I hope that one day we all come to our senses and can achieve the developments we need to make. Anyway, as far as we know today, there are approximately 2 trillion galaxies in the universe, and there are hundreds of billions of stars inside each galaxy. Even in our galaxy alone, the Milky Way galaxy, it is estimated that there are between 100 and 400 billion stars. There are planets around most of these stars, and the exoplanets discovered as a result of observations made by astronomers in the last 30 years clearly show us this. Planets are not rare structures in the universe. On the contrary, they are quite common structures. In fact, scientists no longer focus directly on every planet that comes their way, but on planets in regions called the habitable zone. The meaning of the habitable zone can be summarized as a planet being at a distance that is neither too close nor too far from its star. That is, water can remain in liquid form, and the planets located in that region are quite stable and balanced in terms of surface temperature. According to scientists, the number of planets located in these regions must be expressed in the millions. In short, according to scientists, there are millions of planets in such regions. The conclusion we draw from here is that the basic conditions required for life may be occurring much more frequently in the universe than we think. After this, an important question actually arises. What is it that we mean by life? When we think of life on Earth, we see organisms that are carbon-based, dependent on water, and can exist within a certain temperature range. However, this does not have to be the only form of life in the universe. Scientists began to think much more flexibly on this subject, especially after discovering organisms that can live in extreme conditions. For example, a species like us could never survive on a planet covered with lava, but who knows if the species there is like us? I mean, maybe in many of the planets we skip over as being impossible for life to exist, microorganism populations might be quite common, even if there isn't an intelligent life form like us. For example, tardigrades found in our world are magnificent creatures that can withstand extreme conditions. These creatures, whose common name is water bears, can withstand temperatures from minus 272 degrees to enormous temperatures of 150 degrees. Additionally, they can continue their existence even if they are exposed to high radiation. And now I am telling you the most interesting feature of these creatures. These creatures can even withstand the vacuum of space. Yes, you didn't hear it wrong. These creatures can withstand such extreme conditions that scientists, while looking for vitality on planets, no longer stick to conditions like those on Earth, but also look at much different conditions. Also, creatures that can withstand such extreme conditions are called extremophiles. Furthermore, another point I should mention is the appearance of aliens, because the alien appearance brought forth in the world generally always appears before us as beings with big heads, large eyes, frail bodies, and greenish hues. The biggest reason for this being so is, of course, movies and TV series. However, the appearance of an alien or a being varies according to the physical conditions of the environment it is in. For example, while While creatures living on a planet with lower gravity might be taller and thinner, those living in higher gravity might be much shorter but much stronger in structure. If a planet is constantly dark, the eyes of the creatures on that planet might be much larger, or they might have developed completely different sensing systems. Bats on our planet are actually the best example of this situation. Aliens living on a very dark planet might be finding their way and moving accordingly, perhaps like bats. According to some scientists, they think that the light emitted by different types of stars could even affect the colors of living things. A life developing around red dwarf stars could have colors completely different from the green plants on Earth. Here, much more interesting theories actually come into play because, as I said a moment ago, life in our world is carbon-based, but on other planets, creatures might appear before us with much different bases. The best example of a theory for this situation is the silicon-based life theory. Silicon is an element that can establish chemical bonds similar to carbon and can form complex molecules under certain conditions. However, the fact that silicon is not as flexible as carbon reduces the probability of this type of life forming, but of course, it is still not an impossible theory. Apart from this, ammonia-based or methane-based life possibilities are also being discussed. For example, there are methane lakes on Titan, a moon of Saturn, and some scientists think that life forms based on a different chemistry might exist there. All these possibilities remind us how narrow and how wrong a perspective it is to see life limited only to water and oxygen. Of course, most of the things we mentioned are not valid for intelligent life forms because when it comes to intelligent life forms, things become a bit more complicated. Life on Earth appeared about 3.8 billion years ago, but it took billions of years for a species with technological intelligence to emerge. Perhaps because we haven't done detailed research on other planets, we couldn't notice microorganism life, and because there wasn't an intelligent life form like us, we just crossed it off and threw it away. However, while the formation of intelligent life forms even in our world took billions of years, finding a species already present on other planets is a quite low probability. Here an extra question arises: is what we call intelligence an inevitable result of evolution, or is it a situation that occurs very rarely? If it is a rare situation, the number of intelligent life forms in the universe might be much less than we estimate, because in this case, even if there are plants or microorganisms on a planet, since they won't evolve and become an intelligent life form, frankly, that alien race we want will never emerge. However, if it is not a rare situation and is an inevitable result of evolution in this case, we could watch the evolution of microorganism life we discovered on a planet into intelligent life forms with our own eyes. Of course, for this, humanity needs to survive for billions of years and develop its technology further every passing day. Perhaps until this time, there might also be civilizations in the universe that have a level of advancement much higher than ours, watching us. Perhaps they watched us for billions of years and witnessed our evolution. This kind of scale is called the Kardashev scale. This scale classifies how advanced a civilization is according to how much energy it can use. Unfortunately, humanity is not even a Type 1 civilization at the moment. That is, it cannot even fully use all the energy of its planet, but theoretically, a Type 2 civilization can control the energy of its star. Even a Type 3 civilization can use the energy of the entire galaxy. If such civilizations exist, they most likely noticed us a long time ago and settled for just watching us. So if life is so probable in such a large universe, why haven't we encountered anyone yet? This question is currently one of the most discussed topics in the scientific world, and this question is called the Fermi paradox in the scientific world. To explain this paradox in its simplest form, the paradox asks this question: where is everybody? Possible answers are actually quite numerous. Perhaps the distances between civilizations are so great that establishing communication is practically impossible. Perhaps intelligent life is very rare and we are an exceptional situation. Or advanced civilizations are hiding themselves and choosing not to communicate with us. According to an even more pessimistic answer, such civilizations destroy themselves completely after reaching a certain point, and their planets turn into completely desolate pieces of land. This last answer is actually the answer that makes the most sense, because even when we look at the state of humanity in the world right now, it feels much more logical to believe that a very advanced civilization will destroy itself after a certain point. Also, as humanity, we need to think about this theory and take a good lesson for ourselves. Let's come to whether NASA and other space agencies have contacted aliens in a way hidden from us. If I need to give an official answer to this question, actually many people know the answer. There is no confirmed communication so far. Projects like SETI have been listening to radio signals coming from space for years, but we haven't yet caught a signal that we can definitely say is an alien signal. Most UFO observations are generally explained by natural phenomena, man-made vehicles, or sensor errors. However, a small part remains unexplained, and this triggers people's imagination, leading them to act as if they were in a science fiction movie. Additionally, the images opened to the public by NASA in recent days do not prove anything. When the data open to the public so far is examined, there is no reliable and confirmed evidence that direct communication has been established with aliens. Many things that NASA cannot define or clarify are not because they come from space, but because they do not have enough evidence and resources. Currently, for the sake of clicks on the internet, many people are putting these new images published by NASA on the market with meaningless and ridiculous headlines like "Aliens found" or "Aliens came to Earth." But I have to tell you this based on all my research. Friends, there is no alien race that has come to our world, contacted humans, or made an agreement with heads of state so far. The universe is a structure much larger than you imagine and than your mind can grasp. While even our planet seems very large to you, we are not different from a grain of sand or perhaps even a smaller structure in the universe. If you imagine the universe as the Earth, our planet is not even an ant. Therefore, stay away from channels, people, and rhetoric that say all aliens are looking for us as if we were a very important race and a very important planet, and that say everyone is trying to contact us. Our world is truly a magnificent place. Humanity is also a truly very intelligent species, but this is so on our scale. If there really is an intelligent life form, perhaps for them we are no different from the other pieces of rock in the solar system. When we can control the energy of our own planet and even our star and increase our relationship with space more as humanity, that is when we might be a species that holds value for other advanced civilizations. Lastly, the theory I will mention is the possibility that aliens might have visited the Earth much earlier than us. This topic is still a scientifically quite controversial issue because when distances come into play, the biggest obstacle for every kind of race in the universe is distances. Even the speed of light, which is the highest known speed, remains incredibly slow in the face of the size of the universe. For example, even the closest star system to us, Proxima Centauri, is about 4.24 light years away from us. That is, even a light signal setting out from Earth today reaches there in more than 4 years. According to the laws of physics, it is still not possible to exceed the speed of light. Therefore, interstellar travel is quite difficult. However, here, theoretical physics becomes the target of scientists and theorists. Concepts such as wormholes, space-time curvatures, and warp drive, which I mentioned in my previous videos, are mathematically possible concepts even though they have not been physically proven yet. That is, if a civilization has a sufficient level of advancement and can control structures like wormholes, they could somehow move from one very distant point of the universe to another very quickly. However, the real question people miss in their minds here is this: if they can come, why don't they appear openly? One of the theories put forward for the answer to this question is the zoo hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, advanced civilizations observe the more primitive ones but never intervene. That is, we might be a kind of cosmic experiment. Just like people today observe animals in the wild from afar, not interfering with their nature and watching their development from afar. Although this feels like an idea straight out of a science fiction movie, this is exactly what the advanced civilizations that are likely to exist right now would do, because they have no need for our world, our star, or human technology. They are already civilizations that can control their stars, planetary systems, and even their galaxies. A civilization that can control its galaxy would not touch a race like us. They would only watch our development. So friends, to summarize all of this, in the event that humanity encounters any alien race, we will experience the biggest breaking point in history. Everything from existing religions to science, from economy to politics, would be turned upside down, and many things in our system would change. If humanity uses its mind and manages this process well, we could experience the leap in our development in a very short time and carry ourselves to much different dimensions. Well, what do you think about this subject? Don't forget to state your thoughts in the comments about the topics I mentioned throughout our entire video. My personal thought is that we are not alone in the vast universe, but our reaching them or their reaching us will remain impossible for a long time to come. However, I also want to state that I think life is beginning to flourish in places we never expected in our own solar system, even if it is on a microorganism scale. Of course, time will show us this. I hope you liked my video. Unfortunately, that's all from me for today. If you liked my video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to support my channel and be informed about videos, and state your thoughts in the comments to both state your ideas regarding this video and give new video ideas. See you in our next video. Take very good care of yourselves. Goodbye.